I'm Eugene S. Robinson from Oxbow.
I am Nico Wenner. I play guitar and keyboards for Oxbow. The way we started was as a concept to have a band that would have certain sounds and parameters, and so I mean it's maybe sacrilegious to say that like Sgt. Pepper or something, you know, the way Sgt. Pepper was let's have another band. And so for me it was very freeing to say, okay, what if this band had this massive guitar thing, and I like doing that, but that's not everything I do. But what if that was huge and acoustic guitar and was just very sort of end times, like huge end of the world. And each record has been sort of playing with that persona in a way. And it sounds funny to say, but it's a very freeing way of producing records. And so it's definitely what I'd like to hear, but it's what I would like to hear Oxbow doing.
I want to do a solo record as a suicide note to someone who had left, you know, in a very typical young man fashion, you know. And I play no music myself, so I gave 6 pages of lyrics and directions as part of my suicide note to Nico. And I said, if you can write music for this would be very cool. And so we sat in my garage, which is where I lived at the time, and wrote 6 songs for it and put it out on a record. And we put the record out, and of course in America, I think America voted to have me kill myself because America was as interested in that as it was in anything else that was not worthless, I think. But we sent 20 copies to Rough Trade, and Rough Trade sent 10 of those copies to England. And there was a guy in England who got the record and thought this is a great record and gave it to a guy who was starting a record label, and he wrote me a letter and said, you have to come over and play. I think the record's great. And that guy was Kevin Martin from that band God, The Bug, Ice with Justin Broderick. And that was maybe the beginning of me thinking that suicide wasn't so much an attractive option for me. The first thing we did, the first show we ever played was in London. We played one show as the old band with Oxbow songs. The old band being Whipping Boy, our old punk rock band, at a big theater. And all the Whipping Boy fans came and they got an hour of Oxbow songs. They couldn't figure out what we were doing. And then we flew to London and played 2 shows. And that was the beginning of Oxbow. It took America about 12 years to realize either to catch up or to pay attention to what it was that we were doing. And it got weird enough so that when we'd play overseas, like other friends of ours, like guys in the band's US Maple, people would say to them, oh, Oxbow, and they would go, we don't know who they are. But I'd have to say the first Oxbow show that I ever did happened in my bathroom when I was 15 years old. Right? I mean, I was brushing my teeth and I started singing. And, you know, the acoustics in the bathroom were kind of cool, and I was listening to my voice, and I started making the voice do these weird kind of animal things, and there was like this swell of emotion, you know, and I'm singing, and I stopped using words to sing. It was just tones and vocal things, and yeah. And next thing I know, I was on the floor of the bathroom, and I was crawling around. I was underneath the toilet, you know. And I was 15, and I hadn't been drinking. I wasn't high or anything like that. And I caught myself, and I looked under the toilet, and I still had my toothbrush in my hand, and I thought, you know, it could happen that I never come back from this place. You know, like when you're a kid and your mother says, you know, you make this face, your face will stay that way. That experience aside until 4 years later, when I was in my first band, you know, and my guitar player said, "There's a microphone, sing." And I go, "What do I sing?" He goes, "I don't know. You're the singer. You sing something." And it happened again. Kid, my mother came to me, and she had a book, and she gave me a book. She always gave me books. This was nice. I opened the book, and there were no words in the book, and she goes, "It's a journal." I didn't know what a journal was. And she said, "A diary." Well, I knew what a diary was. And she goes, "You're supposed to write, you know, what you're thinking in a diary." But everybody in my family is extremely paranoid, and I knew right away that were I to write anything in this book, that it's inevitable that it would be found by her, which is why she'd given it to me. So the urge to write was there, but the urge to conceal what I was writing about was also there. So I did start writing, and writing in a way that helped me remember parts of my life without writing in a way that allowed anybody else reading it to directly connect them to my life. And that's continued on the way through. And there's a one-to-one correlation for how I think and how I feel and the words I write and the music we make. And we still don't have enough people who care about us for it to be any other way. We were talking about that last night. I mean, if people care about you, it starts to make life strange for you. Largely in America, still nobody cares about us. So we can do what we do without interference. Whether the interference is actual or imagined, we do what we do without interference. I mean, truly along the lines of what we